All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to try and reverse engineer the actual operating system of one of the world's most effective learners, Bill Gates. We're going to break down the blueprint he uses to turn simple information into, well, genius.
We have this idea that people like Gates are just wired differently, right? That their genius is something they're just born with. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the real secret isn't some innate talent, but a deliberate, repeatable process anyone can learn?
And that's the key. The real high achievers, they don't just consume information. No, they engineer a whole machine for acquiring it, processing it, and actually retaining it. And today, we're going to break down the 3 core components of the Gates system.
Okay, so every system needs an input, a way to get the raw materials in. And for Gates, that input is a massive, constant stream of high-quality information. The main way he gets that knowledge into his machine is through absolutely voracious reading. So how much reading are we really talking about? He gets through about 50 books a year. Think about that. That's almost 1 book every single week. This isn't just a casual hobby for him. It's the bedrock of his entire learning process. He says it gives him this huge advantage by letting him spot patterns across totally different fields. And listen, this isn't some new habit he picked up to look smart. Gates himself says this has been central to how he learns since he was a kid. It's a lifelong commitment to just feeding his brain with a ton of diverse ideas, from science, history, economics, you name it. And the science totally backs him up on this. Avid reading builds something called cognitive reserve. If you look at the data here, studies show it can boost problem-solving skills by over 30% and actively fights off mental decline as you age. So this isn't just about piling up facts. It's literally about upgrading the hardware in your brain. So how do you even start? Well, Gates carves out an hour a day, usually before bed. He's a big fan of physical books to avoid digital distractions. And he's not just passively reading, he's questioning everything. But hey, you don't have to jump in at an hour a day. The key is just being consistent. Start with 20 minutes. That's all it takes to get on the path.
So, you've got the information coming in, but raw data is pretty useless if you can't actually process it, right? And that brings us to the core of the machine, where Gates turns all that information into real insight. And he does it with 3 key practices. First up, the legendary Think Week. This is famous. Twice a year, Gates completely unplugs. He goes to a secluded cabin for 7 days with nothing but books, papers, and his own thoughts. This is where massive ideas like Internet Explorer or Microsoft's pivot to the cloud were actually born.
The psychology behind this is just fascinating. It's called diffuse mode thinking. Basically, by stepping away from all the day-to-day noise, you let your subconscious brain make these surprising, novel connections in the background. Research shows this kind of mental break can make you up to 40% better at solving problems. It's where solitude really does spark innovation. Okay, the second processing tool is writing. It's simple, but so effective. Whether it's on his blog or in his private notes, Gates uses writing to reflect on what he's learned and to synthesize it. This simple habit is absolutely crucial for turning those fleeting thoughts into concrete understanding that actually sticks.
And this is a perfect example of what scientists call the generation effect. The act of producing the information yourself, like writing it down in your own words, cements it in your memory way more effectively than just reading it. Studies from Purdue University show this can reinforce your memory by as much as 50%. The third and final processing habit is his super simple, low-tech, but incredibly powerful note-taking system. He literally just takes notes in the margins of the books he's reading, especially the tough ones. He's not just copying things down. He's arguing with the author, connecting ideas. He's having a conversation with the book.
And the result of doing this? It's staggering. Yeah, it might double the time it takes him to read a book, but some studies suggest this kind of active engagement can boost information recall by up to 80%. This one little trick transforms passive reading into true mastery.
So, we have the input, and we have the processing core. But what powers this whole system? What keeps the machine running, day in and day out? Well, that's the fuel. A deep, intrinsic, and unstoppable motivation.
Gates himself calls it his rampant curiosity. I love that phrase. When a topic grabs him, he doesn't just read an article. No way. He might read 5 entire books on it.
This intense desire to just understand why is the engine that drives this entire learning process.
Let's just look at why this works so incredibly well. When you learn because you have to, like for a test, it's all about discipline. It feels like a chore. But when you learn because you're genuinely curious, your brain releases dopamine. It makes the whole process feel addictive and almost effortless, and you end up making much deeper connections.
And this isn't just a feeling, okay? It is measurable. A study out of Stanford found that when your curiosity is switched on, your learning becomes 2.5 times more efficient. So curiosity isn't just some nice personality trait. For Gates, it's a massive learning hack. And he's totally mastered it.
Okay, so we've taken the machine apart. We've seen how all the pieces work. Now, how do you build your own? Let's boil all of this down into a simple, actionable blueprint you can start using like today.
Here's your 4-step blueprint. 1. Audit your input. Just start by aiming for 30 minutes of focused reading a day. That's it. 2. Schedule some solitude. You don't need a full think week. Just block out 2 hours a week to disconnect and really think. 3. Write to retain. Try making margin notes like Gates, or just keep a simple little journal at night. And finally, number 4, follow your curiosity. Make a wonder list of questions that pop into your head and try to chase down one answer each week.
And here's the crucial thing, starting small and stacking these habits actually works. This methodical approach, building one habit on top of another, has been shown to boost overall learning speed by as much as 37%. It's all about building that momentum, one small piece at a time.
Look, Bill Gates didn't just wake up one day as a learning machine. He engineered it over decades. And you can too. So, looking at this blueprint, the input, the processing, the fuel, what's your first step? Which part of this system are you going to build first?